Alright, hi everybody, this is Shamini from the Happy Film Company, and today we're talking about even lighting in portraits for families. So I have a folder here just with the raw images from a family that I recently photographed, and what we're looking at is how the light hits their face. So you see how the sunshine is coming through the trees, and it's really bright on the right side of mom's face here, or what, from our perspective, it's the left side, it's the right side of her face. And then over here, there's a bright spot on dad's forehead and a bright spot on baby. But then there's also all this shadow. So let's move to another picture. These pictures I see, I'm showing you a whole bunch of pictures just taken consecutively. And notice how the light changes. So in this moment, mom's face is entirely in shade, but her shoulder is in super bright sunlight. Dad's face is mostly shade, but there's some spots of brightness. Daughter's face is totally shade. Baby's face is almost totally shade. And there's brightness on the hands and brightness on the shoulder shirt here, or the elbow of his shirt. Next picture. Just a moment later, mom pulled her head back, and you see her face moved into the sunlight. Baby leaned his head forward over here on the right, and his head moved into sunlight. Next picture. Mom moved back forward, so she has half of her face in the light. You see how the tiniest movements create a difference. So they're not moving their feet, they're in the same spot. Mom is great, she's in shadow. Dad is almost in shadow. Little girl is almost in shadow, except she's got light on her dress. This is what I'm looking at when I look through the camera. I'm doing this quick analysis of like, where's the light? Where's the shade? Next picture. Oop, little girl looked up. Her face is in the sun. Everybody else is almost good. Dad has a little on his forehead. Next picture. Dad is very bad. So you see here, I'd rather have a little bit of brightness on his forehead than this, where it's like bright over on one side and kind of bright on another. It's like he's a Picasso painting. Now, although they don't have the best expressions on their face, lighting-wise, this is getting much better because everybody's faces are in even light, right? So the two things to keep in mind is you're looking for even light on one person's face. So mom has even light on her face. Dad does not have even light on his face. The second element, when you're photographing multiple people, is evenness between people. So that means that either everybody's in the shade, like this, everybody's in shade, or everybody's in the sun. This is not an example of that. This is, if everybody looked like the little boy in sun, then that would count. The problem of having people not matching is that it really breaks up the picture. It makes it look not professional because you're not creating a family unit that's cohesive. Family portrait, everybody's supposed to be together and looking like they fit together. But if one person is in the bright sun and one person is in shade, then it ends up looking like they are taken from different moments or taken in different locations or at different times, or it's almost like you could Photoshop those pictures together. And that's not what we want. So when you're shooting in challenging light like this, sometimes you have to accept the fact that there is going to be brightness. So in this case, I accepted the fact that there was going to be a big patch of sun on mom's shirt. And I prioritized getting even light on the faces, because with portraits, faces are really what matter. And I realized that I wasn't going to get perfect even lighting, so I had to get as close to it as possible, which meant as many people as even lighting as I could. So out of 4 people, I had 3 people here. And then Dad's face, the biggest ratio possible of even light. So this is pretty decent. And there's also the intensity. Like, look how bright the light is on mom's sweater versus how bright it is on dad's face. It's not as bright over here. So I accepted it. Whereas in a picture, where were we? A picture like this, see how bright that spot is up on his head? That's too bright. That's where he looks like he's coming from a different moment in time. Whereas here, it's not so drastically different that you're like, wow, he has a spotlight on his face. So as the portrait photographer, I'm behind the camera noticing where the light is falling, where the shadows are falling, and then being sensitive to the fact that all they have to do is move their head 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right, and it will totally change how bright or dark the light is. When you're working with lots of people and squirmy kids, this is even harder because they're constantly moving around and the light is changing all the time. And so what I do in this situation is I do the best I can. I'm not afraid to give them directions and boss them around to get them in this perfect lighting spot that I can. And then I just keep taking pictures. I keep switching it up and taking pictures and hoping that there'll be one, like this one, where they're all pretty even. And then we move on. It's like, all right, let's get out of here. Move on for the rest of the photo shoot. Here's another example from that same shoot. Everybody's got even light except in the side of mom's face. So what I don't know if I did it, but in this situation, everyone's perfect. So all we'd have to do is get that sun to be blocked, which is most likely going to happen by having her dad, grandpa over here, take a step forward or a step back until his body is blocking the sunlight on mom's face. Now, unfortunately, sometimes he'll take a step back, it'll block the light on mom's face, but then it will expose the light on the little girl's face. So you can't be perfect all the time. But just know, this is the main lesson. Be aware of where the light is. Don't be afraid to ask people to move a little bit so that the light is perfect. Because I used to be afraid. I was too shy, and then I'd end up with all these pictures that didn't look good, and I wished that I'd asked them. And then also realize that in hard lighting, you're sometimes going to have to sacrifice just a little bit, and you do the best you can. And we move on with the shoot. La 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 la, everybody's happy. And then you go find a great spot like this in the middle of the forest where the light is perfect, and you make up for it. All right, there you go. That's a little tutorial on even lighting. Thanks, guys. Check out more of our tips and stuff at thehappyfilmcompany.com and on our blog, it's thehappyfilmcompany.com/blog. If you have any questions, you can email me hello@thehappyfilmcompany.com. Have a great day.